Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Today is going to be install day, so start to get this 68 RFE put back together on the bench real quick, and then we'll throw it back in the truck. So let's get going. Alright, one thing I did off camera was put our shift linkage on. If you guys see right here, there is a bigger indent, or bigger groove than the rest of it. That's how this pawl lines up. This is your shift pawl. One other thing I didn't mention in our last video was I bought some ARP hardware for the flex plate. ARP hardware, I got some Loctite. We're going to go ahead and throw that flex plate in now. Alright guys, we're under the truck now. Sorry for the crappy lighting, but here's our Revmax billet flex plate. Look at these welds all the way around. This thing is kind of a, not kind of, it is like a work of art, but it's going to be hidden under here. So we're going to get this bad boy slapped in, and then we have our ARP hardware, we have our reg Loctite, we have our Ugga Dugga, and we're going to get her going. Now that we're in here, sorry for the lighting, here is the transmission cooler. We're going to replace this. We have to pull off these fittings right here. There's one right there, there's one right there, and then these two 10 mil bolts, and this joker should come right out. So we're going to get to Alright, next thing we're going to do is we're going to use this cooler clean, and we're going to just shoot it through each line so we know we have clean lines. right, now that we got her on the jacks, the transmission jack, I let her all the way down. Let me just see if she's all the way down, just to make sure. Yeah, she's all the way down now. Coming over here, we got the torque converter. These are this is the hardware that comes with the torque converter, just some grade 8 bolts from Revmax. You need to use these. Do not reuse your stock ones. There's no extra charge. They come with the torque converter bolted back, but we're gonna throw about a quart in here, and then we're gonna throw her on the transmission, and then we're gonna get her under the truck. So here we go.
I live inside my own world of make-believe. Kids screaming in the cradles, profanities. I see the world through ice covered in ink and bleach. Cross out the ones who heard my cries and watched me weep. Take my eyes open to force.
All right, we got her stabbed in there for the most part. What I need to do now is I need to remove the dipstick, the transmission dipstick. It's kind of sitting on the side of the transmission, and I think that's kind of obstructing our way of getting it completely seated. It's up against the alignment pins, but now we're going to pull it from the engine bay, pull it up, and then I'm gonna go to the bottom and try to push it in the dipstick hole of the transmission. And it's blocking a lot of things right now, so gonna do that real quick. I'm out of breath, man. That thing is not light. Pretty sketch how I got it in there, but we did it, so let's go. And that's the bolt we need to remove right here. Looks like an 8 or 10. We'll get that going. Finally, she's supported by her own weight. Thank God. All right, our next thing to do is gonna put on this transfer case, hook it up to the transmission. Haven't done torque converter bolts yet. Just kind of avoiding that right now. That is a pain in the butt, takes a lot of time, and I'm trying to get some progress with the time that I have at the moment. So I'm gonna try to manhandle this thing. If not, I'll use the transmission jack, get this put on there, and get the heavy lifting done. Holy smokes, I did it. You guys can see here, these are the transfer case studs, and then this is the nut that goes on them. So you saw how I did it. I had the mount on the transmission, I let that down, and then I manhandled this booger, the transfer case, and then you have to pull that apart so you can get to these bottom two studs and these nuts to tighten them up. So once I tighten these up, we could put the transmission mount back on and the cross member in for good. And next thing will be is torque converter bolts, drive shafts, and fluids, and we'll pretty much be knocked out. All right guys, transfer case is secured. Got all those nuts tightened, got the cross member support on. I got the front drive shaft back on. You can see my yellow lines. Next is to do the cross member for good and get her all tightened up. The cross member right here, this one is different. It's not your stock cross member. There's that behind me here. I'm not sure if you guys can see it, but this is a BDS aftermarket one, so it's a little different than stock, but same purpose. I remember this one gave me a problem last time because the transfer case is in the way, but we'll see what we can do to finagle ourselves around. Pretty much got these two guys started, so let's see what we can do. Day one of trans install. We have the transfer case, we got the wire harness, we got the cross member, we have that beautiful Revmax 850. All lines are hooked up. The only thing I'm missing are some boss fittings for up here that the coolant lines go into, the thermostat bypass, and torque converter bolts. That's really all I have left on the transmission other than drive shafts. I've already put the front one in, the hardware that goes behind up here. I did it because this cross member is going in for good and it's hard as heck to do it with it there, so got to do the front cross member, or excuse me, the front drive shaft bolts, then the rear drive shaft and hardware, and service her up and we should be done. All right guys, we got the last pieces we need for the puzzle. We have our fittings. So these are where the cooler lines go into on the side of the transmission. And here are cooler lines. I got these right here. I just got new cooler lines because this one was starting to show signs of leakage, as obviously it's dirty. So I got new O-rings, and then I just need to throw these cooler lines on, and we should be able to start servicing her back up. And oh yeah, one thing left to do is our thermostatic bypass. As you guys can see, there's no thermostat in there anymore. It just goes straight through. So we'll install this and start putting some fluid in her. All right guys, we are down to the nitty gritty of adding all our fluids. I'm gonna walk out here. It's windy, so bear with me. I don't want that transmission fluid to blow over. Got our, you see it right there, Revmax thermostat bypass in. Front drive shaft is connected. Engine braces are back on. We are good. We just need to put fluid in. So I'm not going to bore you guys with that. I will come back with you guys on startup. All right, guys, we got about 3 gallons in there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to attempt to crank up the truck. Probably let it run for 3 or 5 seconds. Let that pump fluid through the transmission in through the cooler here, and I'm going to try to turn the truck off before it scavenges itself. It's kind of a tricky deal when doing this. It is what it is. I don't have a way of charging the system, so hopefully she starts. She's been sitting for almost a month. I doubt she will, but we're going to give her a try. If it starts, this is going to be a miracle. 1 1000, 2 1000, 3 1000. All right. Got some strong batteries. You can kind of hear, I think the transmission cavitated itself. I'm gonna keep filling her up, let her go from there. All right, here is start number 2. Oof. All right, guys, the transmission is installed. Altogether, it was probably about start to finish, probably looking at around 5-6 hours. Hardest part's obviously getting the transmission in there. After that, everything kind of goes in order. Getting the transfer case on there, yeah, that's heavy too, but she's there. You guys just saw her move under her own motion. Fluid's a little low. I got 5.5-6 gallons in it now. I'm about to go Google how much it takes for a fully serviced transmission, from transmission, torque converter, coolant lines, all the way to the transcooler. So I know the pan holds 4.5 quarts, or an extra 4.5 quarts on top of what it normally holds. So what's that, 1.5 gallons, almost 2 gallons with just the factory level. So we're a little low. We're like right at the cold mark. I don't have any more fluid, so I'm not going to check it anymore today, but I'm half tempted to take it to work tomorrow. Stop at O'Reilly's on the way out of here. You know what? Scratch that. I'm not even going to do that. I'm not even going to risk it. I'm just going to pick some fluid on the way home, get her topped off, do a little 30-mile relearn, or trans relearn, and get her back on the road. So hopefully I can take her to work on Thursday. So yeah, she's there. All right, we're on our maiden voyage, just going to work. Truck's driving great. She's shifting through all the gears. I did the trans relearn this morning, and haven't ever seen it like spike an RPM real quick. I think we're just trying to build pressure, but I just followed the Easy Link screen and it told me what to do in regards to the trans relearn. But everything's looking good. I'm monitoring my desired pressure, my actual pressure, line pressures, and I did shift through 1 through 4. And then stopped. I did it 3 times, and then after that I'm just I'm trying to stay for 30 miles. I'm gonna stay below 30% throttle position, so I'm not like beating on it, so it can kind of relearn itself. I'm on the highway right now. I'm stuck in a little bit of traffic, but I'm just taking it easy. Traffic's kind of nice right now because it's stop and go, but after the 30 miles, you know, I can just drive it somewhat normal, and it takes a couple 100 miles for the transmission to actually fully learn. So I'm excited. Man, these guys at Revmax, they build one hell of a product. So yeah, let's get back to it. I'm gonna drive my rest of the way to work. On my way home, I'll hit over that 30 miles and I'll catch back up with you guys here in a second. All right, guys, we are at the scene of the crash. We're at, not crash, but where my input shaft had snapped. Everything's looking good. We are past our 30-mile break-in, or relearn, I guess you could say. Transmission is still gonna keep relearning itself for the next couple 100 miles till it gets my driving habits down. But all I can say is, man, she's shifting butter smooth. So I'm driving right now. I'm gonna get off of here. Just wanted to give you guys kind of a post update after the relearn. All right, guys, there's the last piece of the puzzle. The install is complete. All right, guys, that is the last bit of install for the transmission. So she's all done. She's all buttoned up. Did about 45 miles on her today. Shifts great. I mean, for just having the 45 miles on it, I can tell it shifts better than my stock transmission. I'm not going to sit here and say it's crazy great, you know, it's crazy good, just in that amount of time. But I'm sure things are going to get better as time goes on and it learns my driving style. So I'm excited. I can beat on a little bit more if I want to, but that's not the intentions of this truck. It's just my daily driver. But man, I am so excited. Just a huge shout out to Tom and Josh over at Revmax for helping me out with this project. I couldn't have done it without them and their help. But just once again, I mean, this is a little overview. We just did a transmission install on a Revmax 850. I don't think there's one on YouTube, but this is it. This is the Mac Daddy of what they sell. So she's going to be ready to go for many years to come and hundreds of thousands of miles. So appreciate you guys watching. This is going to be it for this upload. Make sure you guys get down there, like, comment, and subscribe. Until then, we'll see you on the next upload. Have a good one.